Good afternoon. It is September 12th, 2023, and today we had a range day. Prices are just breaking out beneath the overnight lows. 45 minutes till market close, so a lot could happen. But not a whole lot of great entries, but the price action itself was fairly predictable. Um, you didn't know that this was the lows, but look at all those touches on the midline. Um, So I believe it is. If you draw it to the overnight uh, lows, that midline looks like it makes sense too. So I'll put it there because that actually makes me consider like hopping in here a little more. Um, for instance, this one, but there's not a whole lot of room back to the EMA. But I mean, that does look like a decent entry point. So anyway, in the overnight, we're just ranging, and then 5 o'clock comes right about here, and you get this second entry long at the lows. By that time, it was the lows, so that's a decent entry. It's at the lows. We did make a new low, and clearly the bias is down, so it's definitely not blue, but you could argue for that one. And then we come up here and we hit this level of resistance that we've had pretty much confirmation of this trend line to the downside. So when you drag it up here and it's touching it and it's a nice bearish bar right at that level of resistance, I say you got to take that. That's a good move down. Then we bounce, go sideways, and then shoot up right after the open. And then we come up to this level of resistance again, and we just go sideways, and you do get a first entry, second entry, and that's kind of confirms this level of resistance. So maybe you take that, and then you get what appears to be a double bottom, first entry, second entry. But this, there's so much overlap. Really, this one's tough too. So both of these, it's hard to say. I mean, really, I should mark this one red because that's a great signal bar, and technically that's a second entry short. So I like that. We don't have a new low in place from this channel, and so eventually that's what gets us. That move is what gets us the move down to a new low. You can see we find support on that trend channel. And I looked at this, it's kind of like a repeat pattern. This looks like a level of resistance here. This looks like a level of resistance here. Up, down, up, down, up. And so just like a double test is basically what this is. Really bearish signal bar. Maybe you take that. Then we get a double bottom. First entry, failed second entry short. Maybe you take that, but it's below the EMA. The bias has been down all day. That's risky. You're picking a bottom at that point. But this one just felt like a trap. So I don't know. And you can see it is a trap. That's where all the sellers gave up. We formed a spike and channel up. You get a break, a couple legs of correction, a nice trap here, first entry, failed second entry long that reverses. Yeah, I got to mark this because if you see that trap, I say you take that. And you get a first entry, failed second entry short. Maybe you take that, but you're going into these highs. That's the midline of the overnight range. That's risky, but you can see a lot of people like that, and it just vacuumed up to the highs. And so you get a lower high. So that's a failure with plenty of room back to the EMA. The only thing I don't like is how many overlapping bars there are and how many dojis there are. But, that's one I'd probably be willing to risk. And you get this spike and channel down. And, a good target would be this measured move. And we're going further than that. So there's a lot of selling happening. I don't see anything I like in here. This looks too sideways. First entry, second entry. The way I'm looking at it is that's the first break of the channel. So you're expecting a new low, and we get this lower high here, but you're going into the lows of the day. So you could have gotten in on this move. And now it's just kind of overlapping and chopping and going down. And so we'll see. I'll pause the video to check out the daily chart because I forgot to do that yesterday. So here's the way I've been looking at it. We're in this uptrend, and we've been hanging out around the midline, but you also have this pink range in effect. So it's hard to tell what's going on right now in the general context. But here's one last look at the day. Again, we're trending down right now, so we could keep going down until market close. But here's how I saw it with 38 minutes left until market close. So hope everyone had a great day. I'll be back tomorrow.